My name is Crash, and these are the boys. And this song is called I Am So Sad. I'm so very, very sad. Anyway, welcome to So
Sad.
Sad. If you
Thank
have
you.
never seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, this is your sign to go watch that movie. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Not sponsored by Netflix, unless Netflix wants to sponsor us.
And
Welcome
if you
to-
haven't, we hate you. Please die.
And
But no.
yeah, if you haven't, yeah, this song goes out to the guy in the balcony. It's called "We Hate You, Please Die." It goes a little something like this. Yeah, basically. Great movie, excellent movie, well worth your time. This is not a movie review podcast, though. This is Flight Check Season 1, Episode 14. You can't go 1 and 2 if you just go 0 and 3 instead. Clearly it's a strategy. It's not a strategy that I'm a big fan of, but
the way I thought about it is now we're on average. If you take away the 2 1 week, because we went 1-3 this week, we are now averaging 1 and 2 every week again. So
that's true. We just had to get back into the rhythm thing.
We're back on track. We are 3 and 6 on the summer split. I'm not sure how the official LCS standings have us, but right now, according to Gamepedia, we are tied with CLG for 8th, but it looks like they have the some kind of tiebreaker, and I don't know if that's summer split performance or head to head.
See, theoretically, I mean, overall, we're 3-0 against CLG, so we should, if it's like the entire year, we have the tiebreaker no matter what. If it's summer, then there's still 2 games left to go, but we do have the 1-0 on it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it's being figured that.
I think it's Alphabet.
Yeah, I think Gamepedia might be. Let me see. I'm gonna check LOL Esports right now.
Same
case. Kind of
case.
Hard-hitting research and analysis
goes into FlightCheck.
Our podcast folks. Look, the problem. Okay, they have us just tied for 8th, but then they have us. It might just be alphabetical order.
I think it is alphabetical.
Okay. Well, that's the kind of hard-hitting analysis you can get from us. After an 0 and 3 weekend, L's to Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, and most importantly, Immortals. Our not necessarily rivals, because I don't know if we have a rival, but the team that we needed to beat in order to keep doing well in the standings. Let me just get a few impressions from you guys, how you felt about this weekend, because we were talking a little bit in the pre-show chatter that, 0 and 3 week. There were a few positives, though. Knox, I think you had a few things that you wanted to bring up about that.
Yeah, in which case, I'm actually, funnily enough, going to reference TMB in the chat here in a second. Some of the positives I noticed, though, is at least macro decision-wise, we were looking better this week. Like, we came into this week having, I think it was the second worst early game rating in the league, right? And we were playing against literally the top 3 teams for early game in the league. TL, 100 Thieves, and Immortals all have the top 3 early games. And so going into that, I was like, okay, that's going to be where, if we're going to lose it, that's where it's going to be. And really, I think out of the 3 games this weekend, we only lost the early game in Team Liquid. I thought we had a good early game against Immortals. In fact, I thought we won our early game against Immortals. And I thought we had a very solid early game against 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
Now,
I agree with you there.
In reference to TMB a little bit here, our communication is awful. Yeah. And we can go into that later. But at least for the positives, though, I think, I don't know, the coaching staff did something or what, but we made a decision and we came into the weekend with like strategies in mind about how to handle the early game. And we had leads at one point in 2 out of our 3 games. So that's kind of my positive takeaways. At least macro strategy wise, we're making improvements there.
Right.
And I'm going to ride with you on that one because I think our early games, again, aside from Team Liquid, were actually really solid. I just finished up watching the 100 Thieves match, and like I was here for Immortals yesterday, and both of those really good early game. And so I think what happened was kind of you fix one problem, another presents itself. Because I think the coaches knew what we knew, and when we made the weekend forecast, is all right. The toughest thing here is going to be our early game. So they were like, all right, let's solve the early game problem. Let's make sure we have a really strong one. However, then we got to the mid game, and it fell apart. And it's just, I think there are a lot more issues than just communication. I think there's a few other things, like I've brought up identity. I've brought up, I don't know. I think our drafting is very wishy-washy sometimes, specifically in the solo lanes. But I still think, I don't know, this weekend hurt. And on top of that, I was at work a lot. And so 2 of those losses, I was at the end of my proverbial rope with work, and I had it on the TV there, and I just was like, oh no, my team lost.
Yeah.
In fact, Friday I went 0-5, and I should not have gone 0-5, but that's a whole different thing. I cannot believe Friday.
Yeah, I actually don't even know how I did in predictions this week. I didn't even.
You did the best of us for the week, but Nox is still ahead of you by a point.
Okay, well, I'll take a week 3 championship.
Yeah.
So do we want to? We're kind of doing this on the fly to peel back the pun intended, to peel back the curtain a little bit for all you folks on our behind the scenes. Do we want to just kind of go over the 3 games and just kind of chat about what we saw? I'm not, we can go however we want with this week. There's a lot to talk about, I think. So I just want to.
Honestly, there's not much to talk about in the TL game. I don't know. I don't feel like we really need it. We can talk about the Immortals game. I think the Immortals game is important to talk about. I don't think the 100 Thieves and TL games are all that big of a deal personally. But I mean, by all means, y'all can disagree with me on that.
No, I think you're right. Like I think you can just kind of pass over the TL and 100 Thieves games with simply just like one word. We were outclassed, I think. Those are just better teams. And they showed it. I think especially like when it comes to like mid-late game, I think the 100 Thieves game, just to say a super quick note on it, there were a couple moments where 100 Thieves were making some very questionable decisions on their own. I'm remembering that top lane fight where basically they just kept marching in one by one, and we were just like,
yep.
oh, here's another guy. Oh, pounce on him. I loved when like a closer then like walked up there and everyone's like, closer? Closer, check PayPal. Thank you. That was interesting, but it's like I think the frustration I had was you get gifted 3 kills like that, and you just don't like turn it into anything. And that was my bigger frustration with that game, I would say. And then the Immortals game, it was, I watched that earlier, and it was like, it was looking pretty good up until a certain point. Like, felt like some things were going well, and then it
was looking excellent.
It was looking excellent, and then we got caught out a couple times, and then the big thing, and I think this is the point that we could really hit on, was, at least for me, was when Licorice on the Lee Sin hits Destiny with a Lee Sin Q. Destiny dashes over the wall, and Licorice takes the Q follow-up. And Q's right into the other 5. Now I think
he did hit it before Destiny dashed.
I think the way it's
by microseconds.
The way it's buffered, like Licorice hits the Q, Q's again, and I assume he's going for a flash kick back into FlightQuest. But I feel like that's a play where Destiny had an easy out. And I feel Licorice should know that he has that easy out, and that follow-up Q, I don't think should have happened. He should have known that he's just going to dash over the wall. Why take this fight, especially when it didn't even look like the rest of the team was ready for it, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. I think so. Personally, I'm going to take charge here. This gets to an issue I've been wanting to discuss for a while of drafting, and how I don't think we give, like, even though we have comps that might be good on paper, I don't think we give our champs, like our players, the right champs sometimes. Like, I have respect for Licorice. I have respect for him as a player. However, him on Lee Sin has been underwhelming for me all summer.
Yeah.
And we've only won one game where he's played Lee Sin. We have lost the other, I believe it's 4 or 5. The only the only reason he looked somewhat good on it on Saturday, I personally believe, is because of like that moment with 100 Thieves, kind of checking out for a minute and just giving him kills. And as you said, he wasn't able to really do anything with it. It's like, I don't want to flame Licorice, but I do want to be honest. It's like, I don't know. I don't think we should be giving Lee Sin to Licorice. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's great in Jose Yodo's hands. I think it's great in Palafox's hands.
Yeah.
I think we just got to give other champs to Licorice. And then also, I don't think yesterday we should have given Karma to Palafox, because it's not that Palafox isn't good with Karma. He is. There's just only so much he can do with it.
Yeah.
We've
actually lost every single game that Licorice has played Lee Sin. We're 0-4 Lee Sin right now.
Okay, it is 0-4.
Yeah, I was going to say I have a bigger issue with the Lee Sin.
Yeah, I want to throw it to you. Actually, what I want to throw to you is Crumbs of LCS Analyst Desk fame had a really interesting tweet earlier today where he did end of first round robin thoughts, just like a quick little notepad screenshot, and he didn't have a lot to say about FlyQuest, but it kind of ties exactly into what we're discussing here, and I want to hear your take on his takes. So he says, Dreams has not played a hard engaged support, burden of execution too high in each draft, no identity / must draft easier comps. I am inclined to agree with like all these points. I want to hear how you take that, and Curly, yeah, if you have anything to say too. I just think this is a really interesting point that he's making, and I think there's some truth to it for sure.
In some of the games, I will agree with Crumbs on having hard to execute comps. The Team Liquid comp that we had, that is a hard to execute comp.
Yeah.
Some of the other comps that we've had, say for instance the what was it? I want to say it was the 100 Thieves one. The 100 Thieves one, that is not a hard comp to execute. And in fact, we were playing it fairly well. It was just some of the macro decision making that we were having. Same for the Immortals, honestly. I didn't really have a huge issue in terms of execution difficulty. I thought it was okay. But overall, I mean, he does have a point. There's been some games where it's like, man, these are kind of hard comps to execute. And then what were the other main points he had? Dreams hasn't played any like main initiator champions, correct? Is that what it was?
He's
hard engage.
Yeah, hard engage.
Hard engage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to switch it up and have Dreams trying to initiate stuff, that should be fine. I think a lot of it is Crumbs just makes a good point there in general. I think a lot of our drafts have not had good initiation, period.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I want to say, I keep forgetting whether it's 100 Thieves or Immortals one, but we don't have initiation in one of those drafts, and we have Licorice on a Lee Sin, which isn't able to add anything. So overall, I would say not even just Dreams, we just need to start picking more initiated champs, period.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Dreams's picks so far in the 9 games.
We've got
Set,
Thresh, Karma.
The Soraka game, that was a disaster. Lulu, Braum, and Tom Kench.
I mean, the two Lulu games are paired with Kog'Maw, which is fine because you're going for a Juggernaut comp, which
right.
Okay, that's the plan. That's fine. I have no issues with that.
Right,
and then I think we also had a Senna Tom Kench game, which is also fine. The Soraka one was interesting, and I don't mean that like interesting. I just think it was just a pick that didn't really go well. Yeah, I don't know. Just, I think in general, if we're wanting to focus on having basically Dreams play a supportive role and not initiating, it's fine, but you need to be putting the initiator somewhere else. And I think honestly that initiator should be Licorice, in which case he's been being put on things like Lee Sin, who Lee Sin's known for this mechanical champ, right? He's known for his outplays. He's known for being able to outmaneuver other champions and being able to flank and all sorts of different stuff, right? And right now, frankly, as it is, the most I've seen Licorice, mechanics-wise, he's had like moments where it's like, oh, that was kind of flashy, but I mean, it's like stuff that I could see in like gold level games, right? I haven't seen like go look at Fudge's play when he was playing Lee Sin in MSI, like that crazy over the wall hop into the kick onto, I think it was Gala, right? Like that just mind-blowing flash in kick. Like I haven't seen anything even remotely close to Licorice attempting like it, and it doesn't have to be that level every time, right? But I haven't seen Licorice try for something like that, you know? And so if you're not going to have Licorice going for something big like that on Lee Sin, which I think you need to do if you're going to be playing the champ, and that goes for all LCS laners, not just Licorice, because I haven't seen a lot of great Lee Sin top lane play from our top laners.
Not at all.
If you're going to be, like from any of the NALCS top laners, I haven't seen good Lee Sins at all. But if we're not going to be playing Lee Sin appropriately like that, I need to see Licorice on something else that's going to be able to initiate for us. So that way the rest of the team can follow up on that. Because right now, a lot of the times, like if you look at, especially the past 2 days where we have like the Rise and the Nocturnes that we're playing into, and they're just initiating into us, and it's just us trying to peel back and fight, it's not going well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I go on a lot right there. I'm sorry.
No, that was good. I agree. It's I think the one point that you made that really stood out to me was, it's not so much that Dreams isn't being put on, an engage support. It's the lack of initiation in the drafts overall. You could be putting Licorice on initiation, Jose on initiation. There's a lot of options, and it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of initiation being drafted, and we go for either we go for a lot of early ganks. I see a lot of that. A lot of good tower dives. There was one against Immortals that was a little rough, where we did get one kill and then couldn't follow up and get Destiny afterwards. But we go for these early game plays. They're good, but then it kind of comes to that mid game, late game initiation. It's kind of like, okay, we don't have that person who we can rely on to go and make that play. The guy that will be able to come in and just absolutely jump in and make a huge play, get the setup going, and we take the fight. I just haven't seen a lot of that.
So real quick, while we're on the topic of draft, I want to address one other grievance in Jose Diodo.
This
in
is
which case
the airing of the grievances.
Yes, I'm just while we're on the topic of draft,
right?
I have had a huge issue with our coaching staff drafting Xin Zhao for Jose Diodo into Rumble. We have got to stop doing that. Like, we've done it 3 times in a row now, and all 3 times has resulted in Jose Diodo falling behind in camp clearing and like how far behind in time-wise he is of the other jungler. And all 3 times has resulted in the other jungler being able to make an impact on the lanes before Jose Diodo's done making his first clear. All 3 games, go watch them. I'm not BSing that. I'm not exaggerating. Go watch them. All 3 games has been Jose Diodo on a slower Xin Zhao compared to the Rumble, and the Rumble making it to the lane first and making an impact first. We have got to stop picking that pick, at least into the Rumble. If we want to try it into something else, I'm up for that, but please, just for the love of God, no more Xin Zhao into Rumble. That is driving me insane.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our match history here, and when we're looking at the enemy Rumble, we have let Rumble through 5 times this summer to the enemy team. And granted, because I don't have a blue side, red side, I don't know how much of it is blue-red, but actually no. So a couple of times it's blue, a couple of times it's red. However, the 2 times we have won against that were when he was on Udyr and Lee Sin. both champs he is really good at and he can be really fast with and get that like to lanes quickly, you know. Xin Zhao is not one of them. So I agree with that. Like there so let's let's take a list of champs we just don't want to see on our team, period. Or maybe not period, but like in a better context. Xin Zhao into Rumble. Throw it out. Lee Sin to Licorice. Sorry, bud. Throw it out. Give it to Palafox. Maybe. Definitely give it to Jose Dioto if you see it. But, buddy,
I would
sorry.
say, unless it's Jose Dioto, let's just not draft Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've seen a single good Lee Sin in NA outside of maybe Fudge.
Yep. Karma. Give it to Dreams or don't give it to anyone.
Give it to Licorice. I mean, well, I mean, even just like I don't want to see Palafox on Karma. It's just like that's not the kind of player he is.
Yeah. Actually, I think give it to Licorice. I think give it to Licorice. It's a good idea. Because if I think about some of his other matches that have been good, like Shen is similar to Karma in some aspects of where part of your kit is based around enabling your team. Mm-hmm. And he's had some good Shen matches. So yeah, give Karma to Licorice or Dreams. Let Palafox stay on hyper carries. Like anytime we can give Palafox Silas,
take it.
Oh my god, please! Like
unless
he was out.
Unless the ults on the other team are not great, you know. And
that's true.
Yeah, unless gotta check those ultis first. But
the other one last thing that I'll add for Jose Dioto, and this is kind of rumor-ish, but also there's like a basis for it, so I'll just say it anyway, and people can kind of take it as they will. But I think can you check for me really quick, Curly? We played one Rumble game so far this split, correct?
Yes, we did against C9.
Okay, so that is the only Rumble game we played.
Ironically, he played it into a Xin Zhao.
Yep.
Okay. We don't. Okay. No.
Well, it was the C9 game.
Soraka game.
Yeah, that was the 22.5 minute L.
It's fine. We don't need to talk about it. But the thing I wanted mentioned, and because I remember reading the Discord chat while watching that game, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Jose Dioto just does not look great on the Rumble." And so I remember reading one of because we have our little Spanish section or like the Espanol chat, right?
Yeah.
And I remember someone was saying that they were having a discussion in that chat about how they were listening to Jose Dioto's stream, who is only in Spanish, so I don't know, and I haven't been able to check for this myself. But apparently on his stream, Jose Dioto said he is not a fan of playing the Rumble, which is why we don't pick it that often.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's something I wanted to throw out there that's apparently kind of like been heard.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes players don't like playing a particular champ, or they're just like they either don't like it or they're not great at it, and I get that. Like sometimes you're just unable to master a champ, to an LCS level. And I don't, that's not necessarily anyone's fault, right, in particular. But yeah, it is unfortunate that such a high presence, obviously, I don't know if I want to call it an OP pick, but such a high presence champ isn't on our team more often. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of Rumble from other teams. I just don't see a lot of Rumble I don't see any Rumble from FlyQuest.
You know what I would kind of like to see?
Sounds like we're also about to have another Renekton discussion.
Yeah. Oh. It's these R champs, so
like if it starts with R, it can't be on our team.
Yeah. What are some other
it's Rel for Dreams?
Yeah. Well, no. Even then, we haven't seen any Rel in a hot minute. So
true, but I think that's just because of the meta right now. Because the meta, if you look at things, there's a lot of like enchanters.
I'm looking at all the R champs now. Yeah. Oh, Ryze, Riven, Rengar. Okay, Rek'Sai, Rammus, Rakan. Okay, you could actually build a pretty decent team.
Let's literally
hang on. All right, hang on. This is a new segment. I'm starting the segment right now. Build a comp with one letter of the alphabet. So I say You could do like Renekton top, Rumble jungle, Rise mid.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an AD carry though. Like Rel support obviously, but then your options are like Rammus, Rek'Sai, Rengar, Riven for bot. It's kind of rough. I guess you could
Rengar
put
bot.
you could do like
I'd like to see Rengar just because I feel like that would bully any ADC.
what
That
if you
would
just did
tilt me.
like Rumble top or Rumble mid, and then you put the Rise in bot with the Rel, and then you get no, you just Renekton top, Rumble jungle. I got this, guys. Hang on. Riven top, Rumble mid, Renekt. God, I can't do this. Riven top, Rumble jungle,
We'll be back in
Renekton
5 minutes,
mid,
folks.
Rise bot, Rel support. That is your R champion comp. Congratulations. I expect to see that in LCS.
Next
I
week, we're
am
moving on to the
hurting.
letter S.
I am in pain from that hurt. Like my brain was just struggling with that. Oh my god.
I mean, my brain was struggling with it too. I just
Alphabet drafting.
Alphabet.
That's what we'll call it.
I like this. I'm gonna be.
We'll throw it in next
No,
week though. We're gonna start at the start of the alphabet with A.
I'll be
we'll do
this
S.
back.
Hell yeah.
We can't do it every week,
Damn.
right? Because you've only got 26 letters, so you gotta like, do it only
every other week.
Also,
how many weeks in are we, including spring? 6, and then this is our third. We're on 9.
Yeah, we're just making up for it.
We should be on like letter J right now. It'll be fine.
There's a lot.
Well,
but let's get back to talking FlyQuest.
Yeah, there's not a lot
I
of
think
J
we've
champs.
beat the draft issue into oblivion. Essentially, if the coaching staff is listening to this or gets to this at any point, please take our notes into consideration.
Please take our top tier.
Yes, listen to our silver 4 asses and put it into LCS. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I am silver because of my mechanics, I firmly believe.
I am
a great observer, a horrible executioner.
I am plat in mind and bronze in body. So
hey, just yesterday I stomped a plat 4 Mordekaiser, so
see?
Just saying.
Look at us.
But anyway.
Next LCS coaches and analysts right here.
So
let's
I think we should I was gonna say we should go to TMB's take if y'all want to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
So TMB had a couple interesting takes. So let's say let me find the top.
I got it. You want me to read it off?
Yeah, why don't you read it off? You've got it right there.
All right. So TMB in our chat said to us, well, my take is that there's a serious problem with communication on the team, and the overall mental of the team may be shot. It's probably been said enough, but Johnson taking the 4th mark scuttle, I think, is an endemic of both a lack of him understanding the game state or even caring and going on autopilot, as well as the team generally being bad at communicating in game, such as Lico or Jose saying to wait for Kindred to get there to tag the scuttle, right? Yeah. So, which leads into his actual take. Well, we can probably get into the second take here later, but we'll go off of that take for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't really avoid this moment, could we? I mean, this was like the top post on Reddit, for the last 24 hours. Yeah. So I know there's been a lot of flame, I think, from the community for this moment. At first, when I saw the play, because I didn't watch the game live, I went back and saw it happen. At first, I had that kind of reaction of oh my gosh, yeah, that was so freaking dumb. Oh, whatever. And then as I've thought about it more, it's look, people I'm not going to give him a total pass, right? I think it's still an inexcusable mistake. You're playing with Kindred. The scuttle is, it's literally a free mark. It's right there. There should have been communication there that, to wait for Jose. but mistakes happen, right? People mess up. I mean, Jensen forgot to hit Zanya's, in a finals, in a game 5. People make mistakes. So I'm not like, I really don't want to take the path of, oh my gosh, we need to bench Johnson, get this guy off the team. I think that's an overreaction. I think there are other discussions to be had about Johnson's play, but I don't think we should be saying, wow, he took fourth mark Scuttle. He's done. He's done so. Knox, it looks like you really want to go.
I have a really I want to clarify this because
Yeah.
the entirety of Reddit, as well as people in our own Discord so far, have all been saying that Johnson is the one who took the Scuttle from Jose Diodo. And that's true, but I think people are focusing on the fact that he was just the one who took it. I think I don't want people putting the entire blame on Johnson. You should put some blame, don't get me wrong, but I think people need to understand that it was not just Johnson. Licorice is the one who literally started that scuttle crab. He queued onto it and he dived in, and then Johnson joined in afterwards. That's not just a Johnson call. So please, by all means, you can send a little aggravation towards Johnson, but you have to understand that was not just him making a dumb call. Licorice nor Johnson realized that, which means there's some form of communication issue going on because neither of them realize that, hey, that's a mark for Kim or jungler who desperately needs that mark. And then Jose also clearly did not call it out in time. Granted, I mean, I'm sure he's looking at other things. And so there's just a huge lack of communication there. And it's not just Johnson at fault.
Yeah. I think it's a team issue. I think it's just team. You can clearly see that the team communication is not what it should be. And it's not like LCS is renowned for incredible comms, right? But it really stood out to me this week that it just looked like, I mean, you can even look at the player cams, and I know, you don't see every single cam at every single time, but just every time it shifts over, I don't see people talking. And maybe it's we're getting really unlucky and I'm missing it every single time. And that's probably a very results-based analysis, but you know what? I'm going to go with it. And when I say results-based analysis, I mean my optical analysis of the webcams that, we're seeing on the screen. But it's I will watch other teams play and I will look at their cams and they're just every single person, or a couple people, you just see them talking all the time. And it's okay, that is who is running the team. And I could not tell you right now who is running the team.
Yeah.
Who's leading the team? I can't.
And that leads me into a discussion that I've really wanted to have for a second now.
Perfect.
Of what is our identity?
Yes.
What is FlyQuest? Who plays what role aside from the literal lanes they are drafted to, paid to play?
Yeah.
And I approach this from multiple standpoints. I approach this as someone who struggles in solo queue and has an excellent team here or there. I approach this as someone who made a haphazard team for a community tournament and learned the issues from being both a coach and a quote-unquote leader. I approach this as someone who really wants to see the best for my team. And lastly, I approach this as a communication studies student, because that is something I'm studying here. And so I want to get into, you're going to get into a little comm studies with Curly QQ.
Excellent.
Of group communication. There is a whole class on it at my university that I had to take. And one specific thing is what happens with every group. This is stages that every group goes through. Is they form, they storm, they norm, and they perform. The forming is obviously they come together. The storming is they go through the conflict of figuring out who the hell is supposed to do what, and a leader emerges. The norming is where everyone settles into their roles, and the performing is where they know their roles and now they can start doing well. I cannot tell you where we are. I don't know if we've stormed because I don't know if we've been allowed to. Therefore, I don't know if we can norm. I don't know what communication goes on with it within the players. I know, admittedly, I know they seem friendly with each other in the content we see on the FlightCheck YouTube, all the fun things. But as players, like, are they really that bonded? Because the lack of communication, I think, comes from them not knowing where they really fall on the team. Because I don't think they've had a hard hitting discussion about that. And I look at other teams like I like my LEC team, as you know, is Fnatic, and they're fairly candid in a lot of their videos because not only is it entertaining content, but they also like do a peek into the discussions of before and after games for every weekend of just kind of reviews of what's happened this weekend. And you always see Yamato Cannon be very like forward, real, and then optimistic with his players. He's like, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we need to focus on. You can do this. I don't know what our coaching staff does. I don't know what communication goes on behind the scenes. But admittedly, I don't think it's like that. And I think that's something that's hurting us.
Hold on.
Nope.
Oh no.
We lost HD Knox. After all that, now you can see
Not only did we lose HD Knox, you literally are only the sides.
My plants and my headboard and a couple pillows.
So that take made Knox War cry, so he had to leave the call.
Yep.
All right.
Sandy is Knox War now.
All right. I'm
Hold on. Knox. I'm working on it. Oh, there we go. We're good.
Back? Okay, we're back.
Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
That was I have to,
you're missing the show right now.
I have to laugh at the fact that Curly had a very impassioned monologue there, and then Knox is just like, you know what? I'm just gonna disable my webcam. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take the night off. See you guys.
I apologize, Curly, but honestly, that take is like a perfect lead into something that Rice put in chat. If we want to go into that,
let me read off Rice's take here because I think he really summarized one of the issues that I've been thinking about as well. And I think Knox and Curly, you just kind of alluded to when he said, I honestly think a big overlooked issue is the pairing of an inexperienced coaching staff with an inexperienced roster. Now, before we get into that, I just want to pull up our coaching staff. So the listed ones, at least on
Kanani and Sharks.
So Kanani, he's been kind of all over the place, mainly in EU, but he did coach SK Gaming last year for all of the 2020 season. Before that, he was just kind of in the ERLs.
So his big accomplishment is he's a 3 times EU Master finalist as an assistant coach for Mad Lions.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's pretty good. That's a good resume to have. And then Sharks, he was on Ego Rogue, which is a really good ERL team last year. He did a little time in the LVP. He was also over in the LCL, doing all kinds of stuff. So they've been around the block. Like, these are not guys who just like have never coached in their life, right? I want to make that very clear. They've been coaching. Sharks has been coaching for around 6 years now, or 5.5, I would say, and Kanani has been coaching for about 4. So yeah, they're not like completely inexperienced coaches. However, aside from Kanani's 1 year in LEC, there's not a lot of like Premier League coaching experience.
I was gonna say, and if we're not gonna sugarcoat it, that SK team finished 9th in spring and 5th in summer, and even then got 0-3 the moment they got into playoffs.
Right. Now, part of that is, also the quality of players that, were on.
No, absolutely. Like, and just putting the facts out there.
Like, so I think the the thing that I want to look at is like in comparison to a team like 100 Thieves, who during this break between spring and summer went out and made 2 huge splashes in the market. They picked up Abadage, as everyone knows, but the other one, and the one that I am convinced is really making their team the hot commodity that they are, was the Reapered pickup. A
100%.
proven, may I say, god tier coach. You know, like this guy, we know he's good. Now, I really don't like flaming our team. I'll happily flame Golden Guardians and CLG, but not the the team. So I don't want to like
You're so mean.
I don't want to I don't want to trash the coaches, but I think this is a really good point here, and it's I think Rice says it. The pairing of a less experienced coaching staff with a roster that is brand new. These are just 5 guys who have been playing together for only 6 months. Like that's not a lot of time to come together. Yeah, I know you guys have things you want to say, so I'll stop rambling and go.
Curly, you want to go first, or
I'll let you
or
take the reins on this one
okay.
because I had my big monologue.
I don't want to put it as trashing. In fact, I would actually even say that I think both of these guys have plenty of experience in the coaching scene. I think they understand what needs to be done. However, I think at a certain point, you need to call out the fact that something needs to change. And I think it falls on the coaching staff to make that change. And I'm not talking about roster changes. I'm talking about the way things are run in the back office, the way things are run in team comms, the way things are run in analysis, whatever, something needs to change. And frankly, it was one of those things because I remember there was an interview with, I want to say, Coach Sharks back in week 3 of spring, in which case he said, hey, we're still trying to get our groove together. We're still trying to figure out what we want to talk about. And God dang, I saw him talk about it. Anyway, we basically are still trying to figure out how we want to play, right? And a lot of that is like, okay, week 3, that's fine. We are now if we were to look everything together, we are now at week 9, right? And we're still having some of the same issues of not being able to figure out how it should be. And we're not figuring out how we want to play or who should play what. I think we've kind of figured out, hey, Palafox should be kind of playing these melee champions who are like great at like kind of getting into the fight and doing his thing there. That's, I feel like, the only thing we've really figured out and what we feel comfortable on. And I just, at a certain point, I think our coaches are experienced. Let me reemphasize that. At a certain point, though, there's got to be a change made, or there's got to be a solidification of like, this is what we're doing and this is what we're going to stick to, because we're still kind of wiggling our way around trying to figure things out, and we're not doing a great job of it. And so I think we really do need to go look at the coaching staff and say, hey, what are you doing? Because right now it's not working. It's just straight not. And so honestly, at the end of the day, like right now, Licorice is having issues. I mean, y'all heard my rant on him last week. I literally said he was abysmal last week. Jose Dioto has not been all that impressive to me the past week either. The bot lane has had some issues. Palafox has been looking okay, and that's been about it. And don't get me wrong, those are all those separate things, but at the same time, if the team identity is not coming together and our macro is only still struggling, even if we're having improvements in our early game, like our coach has got to do something at a certain point. Like I need a crackdown of something, and we haven't gotten that yet. And I think at this point, at 9 weeks in, week 3 of summer, like if it doesn't come next week or the week after, I just write the season off at that point. If we get to week 5 and we're doing another 1-2-1-2, like this, we're done. We're just done.
Yeah, and let me just say, when I said, don't want to trash the coaches, I mean like actually flaming, unnecessarily, like calling them stupid or, just dumb or, bad people or something like that. But I agree, I think I agree with your take there, Knox. It's especially what you said at the end. I was just like, I mean, look at the standings. like I hate to sound so pressed, when we're only, we've still got 18 games left in summer, but uh Counter Logic Gaming has caught up. They are tied with us now for 8th. They have kind of figured out their little their Goomba Stomp comp,
Yep.
whatever the community's calling it, and they're doing what feels comfortable to them. They're not trying to fit with the meta. They like playing Vi and Galio, and that's great. And look, they went 3-0 this week, and caught right back up to us. And Immortals is now 3 games away. Evil Geniuses and Dignitas are 5 games away. So yeah, we can continue having discussion on the coaches. There is one other thing that I want to bring up
Yeah.
with the standings. So what I'll just say about um, the coaching is that a team should improve over time. If a team is not improving, there's a reason for it. And if the reason might not necessarily be because the players are unteachable or they've like reached their potential peak or whatever. Sometimes the way ideas are communicated just doesn't work. And so it's possible that the communication between the coaching staff and the players just isn't going through. Now, I don't know if the timing is good to just kind of like say, all right, thank you, Kanani, thank you, Sharks, and just bring in someone in the interim. It
I don't think
feels
it's
that,
now.
yeah, I think it's a little late in the season. I think at this point, you just kind of have to run with what you got.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think if we don't, you know, go to the next few weeks without a 2-1 or a 2-1 2-1 or a 3-0 somewhere in there, if we just do another 1-2 1-2 or another 0-3, at that point, yeah, I think you have to kind of write the season off. And I mean, at that point, you're just fighting with CLG for 8th place. You're just trying to get literally into the lower bracket.
Which is terrifying because they look like they finally figured their crap out.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, and that, I think, unless Curly, you want to say anything, I wanted to segue that into reevaluating expectations for the team.
That's exactly
Perfect.
where I wanted to go.
Perfect. So
And so
you
if you
had
don't mind, I'd like to take the head.
yeah, you had the deets on where we put our expectations at the top of the summer season.
So at the beginning of the summer split, before everything happened, we were filled with what feels like optimism now. I had excessive and they had relative. Um, they both benchmarked FlyQuest at being 6th place. And at worst case, being 8th and making playoffs. I was a little more optimistic, where I was shooting for 4th place and okay if we made 6th. I don't think any of us are quite as optimistic anymore. And I just being realistic there. And I guess this shifts to it's I've had a lingering thought for a while of my expectations. And I've always kind of suppressed it because there have been shiny moments where I'm like, no, this isn't FlyQuest. We can do better than what I'm thinking. But in the back of my mind, there's always been this itching what we need to do with this season. And as Knox put it, is write it off. I think we might be at that point already. Admittedly, I don't want to say that, like, unless there's a serious shift this weekend alone. I think this is a write-off season where if we don't make a big enough change before the end, we just need to accept it. We need to do what we can. We need to use these last few weeks to find that FlyQuest identity, find what makes us work, and then grind that in the off season and come back next season with just vigor.
Yeah.
And like just knowing what FlyQuest is and being a cohesive team. And I think, as much as I hate saying it, I think that's something that we might have been destined for from the get-go because we had to rebuild from the ground up. It is just so difficult to do that. It is so difficult to build a whole new team. Like I used the Cleveland Browns as a reference this weekend to
I was
stop
just
people
about to
from
make some professional sports references.
no.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
I used the Cleveland Browns this weekend when everyone was flaming after the Immortals of, oh, we should change this, we should change that. The Browns change their quarterback every season, and they never effing win. They never win. You do like making changes is not going to get you the trophy. It's not always changes. It's finding the thing. Okay,
What I'll say is
sometimes it works.
it's not one piecemeal change,
Yes,
right?
it's not.
It's a conglomeration of multiple changes over time, finding the right pieces to put together.
Finding the right
The
pieces.
the
But
odds
then
of
also,
the odds of us taking 5 players, only 2 of which had played together before, throwing them all on a team and hoping, and now the team doesn't even have the Palafox Diamond combo. And throwing them all on a team and being like, well, on paper, this is a top 6 team. Hope it works. Honestly, those odds aren't great. Like, expansion teams, like if you look at professional sports, expansion teams almost never do well. You had the Vegas Golden Knights. They were an outlier on that.
Yeah,
but
we don't. That's an anomaly.
That's but like
they approached with a paycheck.
Right, exactly. But teams that are just like thrown together, it takes some time. And even teams that are going through rebuilds, like I think about like teams in baseball. So I'm a big Washington Nationals fan. I live near DC. The Montreal Expos moved down here in 2005. We drafted Ryan Zimmerman with our first ever Washington Nationals pick. He's still on the team, but you know what? It took us 14 years to slowly get the pieces together to build. It came draft picks, big free agent signings, but 14 years for us to put together a competitive team. Hey, Hunter Talk Pod, Bryce Harper was not on that winning championship team. He is worthless Philadelphia trash. That's what I will say about that. I've just excluded all our Philly listeners. So
now, if you don't mind me taking the reins back, I want to bring what you're talking about, building a team from the ground up again in professional sports. And there's a reason I brought up the Cleveland Browns is because they had to do it because I don't remember the year. I think it was the 90s or the early 2000s where the Cleveland Brownies were uprooted, moved to Baltimore, named the Ravens, and we were left with nothing. Because I reside around the Cleveland area, and I learned that because of someone who really cares. And look at where the Browns are now. They're still struggling from that alone. That's why we have all those issues. And FlyQuest is kind of going through that same thing. Because I'm looking at our timeline, and we popped onto the scene pretty good. Not necessarily Golden Knights level good, but pretty good back in 2017. And then as you go through the years, as we get to last year's roster, where we were the only team to take a win off of top esports, and where we went 3-3, being the best performing NA team at Worlds. What you see is slow shifts, as you said. Wild Turtle joined in 2017. It stuck around all the way until 2020.
Yeah. Santorin was on, I think it was on the 2018 roster, right? And then
Santorin stuck around till from 2018. Curry was there in 2019 as the coach and stuck around. Like, you have these people that stick around for a while. But we don't have that this year.
Yeah,
we have none of that.
Yeah, it's just it's a conglomeration of players, and they're learning how to play with each other. And sometimes you just strike out on a group of teams. Now, okay, it's week 3 in Summer Split, and I don't want to completely throw the team to the wind right now. Maybe this
I was going to say, technically, by normal standards, we have a whole regular split
we have
left.
a whole 18 games. Again, like you go 2-1 for all of that. That's 12-6. That puts you at 21-24. That's probably top 8, a top 8 record right there. Now, of course, you have to go 2-1 every week, but like, it's possible. And my hope, and maybe we could get into like looking ahead to next week, but my hope is that this 0-3 week kind of kicks us in the ass a little bit, and is a bit of a wake-up call that something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
So a quick recap before we get into predictions for next week then, or?
Recap of our long discussion here, or recap of the week?
Just everything we've talked about. Just like
yeah,
bullet
let's
points.
do that.
I have them in my head.
Let me just and I think I know the answer to this. But let me just throw out one more possibility. I know a lot of people. I saw a lot of folks in Discord, in the subreddit, in all kinds of places saying maybe it's time to bring in some academy players. No. 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 Just no. Just don't do it.
The only reason I would agree with you, and the only case I would agree with you, is not necessarily a quality of players, but the only swap I think might be potentially justifiable is if we bring Tomo up, because Tomo and Dreams just work really well together.
Tomo,
and it would not.
Tomo's the
and that is the only reason.
But even then, I just don't like it. And look, we have seen pretty much every other team in LCS make a mid-season swap, and
it just doesn't
all
work
of
out.
them look worse. TL
They're
does
imploding.
not. Now, the Alfari thing is like a different story altogether. But Dignitas imploding. Cloud9 looks really bad right now with King instead of Sven. The only team that made a swap and looks better is 100 Thieves. Because they just straight upgraded their mid laner. I mean, that's literally it. But,
and their coaching staff.
Yeah, and their coaching staff. They just made upgrades all around. But all these other teams have made side grades or downgrades. And I am just not willing to do that until I can see our academy boys. I think they're great. I think they're a really good team. They're actually on fire. They looked really...
They're excellent. Actually, our academy team, phenomenal.
I really want to shout them out. I think a lot of them have really bright futures, and I really hope they all get spots in the LCS either again or for the first time. I think I
cannot wait to see triple in the LCS.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
absolutely.
That's going to be so amazing.
I think NXI has a really bright future. I think Tomo has a really bright future, and I hope Diamond can pick it back up and get back in. Kumo too. But I just don't think, if we are going to be serious about fighting for 7th, 8th place, that you make a academy swap here. I just don't see it as the move. So, Nox, I don't know if you have any thoughts there, or if you want to...
Academy wise, I mostly agree with you guys. Let's just leave them to do their thing. Yep. If anything, I'm just really sad that we can have a whole show on them because we've already been talking for an hour. But I would actually love to discuss the academy team because they've been looking fantastic. Yeah. They look fantastic. Let me reemphasize, they look fantastic. Go watch them later this week. Go cheer them on. Go cheer on Loyota, the Dragon himself. They're great. If you want a FlyQuest team that you're happy about right now, go watch those boys. They're great.
Yeah.
Fly Academy is the hopium everyone needs.
Fly Academy is our hopium. All right. Next weekend, what do we got? We have TSM, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians. Curly, I believe you have possibly a little slide, which we can then describe.
I do have a slide, if you want me to bring it up. I was planning to do that after we discuss each game by game, but you know what? Let's bring it up now.
Let's just do it.
That being said,
talk over it.
Yeah, we can.
That's true.
That
being said, what you're going to see actually is our MSI predictions again, because I forgot to put the new graphics. So I thought, oh man, MSI predictions.
Oh,
hey, who was right about RNG winning though?
You were.
Yeah.
You
All right.
You
Yeah.
This is
Uh-huh.
all right. So what's really going on here is Curly just wanted to brag about
Before I present the fact that here I am in last place. Oh wait, I don't have the background.
Oh, all right.
Do. All right, did it. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold on.
Mildly
Flight
scuffed.
check.
Mildly.
Bam. Oh, and now it's the backwards. There we go. Professional production.
NA production, as World Roller says.
So while I might have gotten RNG
NA
right, I am
graphics.
currently losing the pick'ems for LCS Summer Split. In this graphic, you will only see the FlyQuest predictions because, God, I do not want to put 15 predictions on one screen or have multiple sides. It's just not where I want to do it. Nox GF picks coming next week.
Yeah, she's napping right now.
Yeah. All right. So it's hilarious. I'm laughing at this. So because we just talked for an hour about how down we were on the team, and then Knox and I predict the 2-1, and Curly predicts the 3-0, and it's like, did we just not talk for an hour about our frustrations with this team? Is it because Dignitas and Golden Guardians are just like that bad or imploding?
We
that
view
much?
them so lowly. It's just because we think we have problems, but we think they have worse.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
What I will say about the Dignitas one, if Dardoch and Soligo come back, I'm changing that prediction. Like if we get the because I'm gonna wait to submit my pick'ems until 5:30 on Friday, just so I can see, if any lineup changes get made. If Dardoch and Soligo come back, I'm giving this one to Dignitas. Absolutely. Golden Guardians needs to be a win. And then I don't think our magic against TSM is going to hold. I think this is where we finally drop a game to TSM. Anyway. Nox, Curly, give me your thoughts on these matchups.
All right, let's go with TSM first.
Yeah, let me just describe it for audio people real fast. Curly, 3-0 for us, and then Nox and I both have 2-1s with the one loss coming against TSM. So if you want to, you can either keep it on this slide or swap it back.
I'll leave it there for a second, and then we'll go back to live. Yeah. All right, let's go back to live. Bam, here we are. Man. So let's talk TSM.
Go on camera.
Nox, let's start. I want to go last because I want to be the glimmer of hope in the TSM. So let's Nox, Sandy, take the floor if you will.
You want to go first, Sandy, or me?
I'll just say TSM looks really good. Spica looks insane right now, in my opinion. I think the team is good. I think they are finally clicking, and I just don't. If we play like we played this past weekend, I just don't see it happening unless we pull out some kind of miracle comp or get some early game picks or whatever. I just don't see it happening. And then I just really want to reiterate on the dig thing. It's like if it's Acadia and Yusui, I think we can win that. Even if it's just Dardoch back in, I don't think it's a win. So that's a conditional choice. But
okay.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So first off, let's clarify. FlyQuest is currently 3-0 against this team, right? In all three of those wins, I will say we had not played bad. I don't think we played amazingly, but we played solid. We didn't have any stupid mistakes. We didn't have any mess ups. There were no unforced errors. Let me put it that way, if that makes sense. Like I say that as a tennis fan. I play a lot of tennis. So unforced errors on our part.
Nice.
In which case,
good term.
I think we're getting to the point of where TSM's starting to get in the groove. They are, like, if we're being honest, they are, I think, tied for first with 100 Thieves, one below 100 Thieves, something like that. Either way.
Yep.
So actually, they're a top two team.
Mm-hmm.
They're
number one.
Solo first. Sorry, solo first.
Solo first.
Yeah, okay. Either way, with that said, I think we've gotten to the point of where it's like we've taken 3 games off of them. I don't think we're going to be able to get a 4th in a row. I see Road Roller saying we can bagel TSM. I hope so. That'd be awesome.
What does
I
bagel
don't
mean?
think bagel is basically they have a big old 0, so like a bagel has a hole in it. I actually appreciated that as a tennis player, Road, because I say I bageled people all the time.
Yeah, tennis terms.
Thank you, Road. The tennis terms. So no, but I don't think we can bagel them. I think we'll probably drop this one just due to TSM is actually a very high quality team. I think we've been very fortunate not to have any huge mess ups in our games against them.
Yeah.
And I think our luck's run out on this one. But at the same time, if we put up a solid fight against them, because they are a top 2 team, if we put up a solid fight against them, I'm not going to be upset. So I think we will drop the TSM game.
All right, it's time, boys, for me to take my hot takes out of the oven.
Oh, it's an early hot take section.
All right,
back up. Clear the space. Clear the area, folks.
Hold on, I'm backing up.
Winning against TSM based on 3 factors.
All right, hang on. All right, I'm clear.
Number 1, whatever the hell energy went into Friday of this weekend that caused me to go 0-5 when at the very least I should have been 3-2. Because I knew I had some spicy takes there, but gosh dilly dang it. 100 Thieves, what were you doing? How did you lose on Friday? So whatever chaotic energy made 100 Thieves lose last Friday is going to help us here. It's going to boost us here. Because I know the odds are stacked against us. Number 2. I just really believe in us. It's the hopium. It's the copium. We're just really going to do well. There's something about this energy that we're just going to do well, especially because we are going to be riding that 3-0 of hey, at least we can beat TSM somehow, even when everything seems against us. That 3-0 is going to turn into a 4-0 because it has to, or I might cry. And reason number 3 is I firmly believe that the fact that we went 0-3 this weekend is going to cause some serious, much-needed hard discussions in the FlyQuest house. And where they are going to sit down, they're going to be like, all right, what do we do? They're going to have the tough times, and they're going to find the solutions. Because that's what FlyQuest does. We will find the solutions, and we will save the planet. Even though it's been a rough summer, even though it's been a rough year overall, I still think we can do it. And that's why we're going to beat TSM. That is my hot take.
I can agree with that final point for sure. I do really think that this 0-3 weekend really has to force us to just kind of confront some tough conversations. So yeah, I would agree.
Awesome. Let's move on to Dignitas now.
Yeah, Dig. I mean, I already said my piece about this game. I don't know if you did, Knox.
I didn't. I'll just go over it real quick. I think right now, I don't know what's going on with the Dignitas team right now. They've replaced Soligo, who I thought looked solid. They replaced Dardock, who, as much of a rager and toxic teammate as he is really good. I think I don't know. It's one of those things that if you look at some of the Twitter discussions that's being had around Dardock right now, it's I don't know. It's almost sounds like it's kind of worth it just to have a toxic teammate if he's going to carry you that hard, right? So I think Dignitas is kind of being a little dumb right now, and I think with Acadian in the jungle, who is a solid jungler, and Yusui, who, not that Tom Shu ever watches this, and I'm sure someone in here knows who Tom Shu is. At risk of Tom Shu being upset with me right now, I don't think Yusui is all that great. I think it's a very winnable matchup for us, and really the only thing that we need to be worried for is Neo and Afromoon in the bot lane, and Fake God up top. Fake God has been solid too, but I think the real big threat on that team has been Neo and Afromoon. So
I think
if we can avoid that, we should be good.
The jungle mid situation for Dignitas is not what it was with Dardock Soligo. I still don't understand the moves. And then Golden Guardians.
Oh, I don't get to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you already.
No, it's with Dignitas. This is just retweeting essentially what you said, where they
RT.
are literally giving themselves losses by taking out a solid roster. Like
Mm-hmm.
they they had such a solid spring split, and then for some reason just decided we're gonna throw that away. We're gonna take our good players that's been proven a good team, and rather than develop it and solve their issues, we're just gonna switch people out. Bye.
Yeah.
It was silly. So
Yep.
yeah, no, we're definitely winning based on the way they're going.
Yeah. Yeah, if things stand, I agree. And then, excuse me, Golden Guardians. We all said easy win last time, and we know how that went. Yikes! So this is a must-win game. Like again, I said this before when we lost to them, but like these are the games that you have to win. So, and now that I've said that, we are going to lose to Golden Guardians.
Yep.
Clearly, I've jinxed it.
No, I swear to God, if we lose to Golden Guardians,
It's
I think we shouldn't take them lightly.
no.
Admittedly, I think Solo alone has boosted the power of that team.
I also think a Blaze Olive is actually,
and a Blaze Olive has been allowed to pop off because of it.
He's underrated in my opinion. I think he's actually pretty good.
He is really good.
Yeah.
However,
So.
the issue, the reason I say that is like it's the same issues you might run into solo queue as a solo laner, where you might do well in your lane, but the other solo laner inted, so now you can't do anything because solo champs that get fed have such an impact on the game. So like, sure, he might be able to do well, and like a Blaze Olive might be able to do well, but if he doesn't have a side laner that can at least not lose, like it's just hard. And Solo, he's a real good player if you ask me.
Yeah.
And so those two together are a pretty solid matchup, which is why I think we shouldn't take them as lightly. But I still think we're gonna win.
So I'm going to basically retweet you guys here, and I'm also going to be a little self-conceited and quote my own self from the weekend forecast. Respect needs to be shown to this Golden Guardians team still. A lot of their stats, if you go check them on Oracle's Elixir, actually has them as honestly a lower middle of the pack team. Like, honestly, better than CLG, better than us. A lot of their stats were better than Immortals in certain areas, and occasionally here better than EG on certain things as well. Their record is trash. Their stats actually show them as being somewhat decent.
Is that in
we
terms
do need to
of,
show respect?
Is that in terms of summer stats or for the?
This is in terms of summer stats, not including spring. Their summer stats show them as like a middle bottom tier team.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've already matched their win total from spring. They went 3-15, and so far in summer they're 3-6. So, I mean, on that alone, they're already doing better. So,
yeah.
Unless they proceed to then lose like their next 18 games and finish in 39, which is certainly possible, but we're gonna hope that doesn't happen.
Possibility.
We're gonna hope that doesn't happen. I would like to see them, get a few more wins as long as they don't pass us, right?
I cannot wait to see how we place every team halfway through the split, because I know it's going to be different than the start.
Yeah.
Already, like, I'm holding on to this. I have CLG in a very different spot than I originally had them, I will tell you that much.
I think they're looking pretty good.
Like, they might be a top 6 team, top 5 team.
Yeah.
They keep playing like they have.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, maybe we'll just do a quick, if anyone has any interesting thoughts on LCS in general, and then we'll just
throw it to the audience,
and then we'll just wrap the show up. Yeah, if anyone in the chat has anything that they want to say about LCS or about FlyQuest, now's the time. I'm just going.
In the meantime, I'm gonna scroll back and read some things that I know.
Yeah,
were good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate. If you guys haven't gone and read Crums's post, it's his most recent tweet. It's a really, really good rundown, just kind of on the first round robin from summer. from everyone. He did a really good job, and there's a couple things he said that I really agree with. Whatever's going on within Cloud9, they got to figure that out because that team is better with Sven. Clearly, I don't think King is the answer, and I also think Alfari. I really hope everything gets figured out with him because he needs to come back and make TL better. Look, I mean, at the top of the season or at the top of summer, the 3 teams I expected to be representing North America were 100 Thieves, Cloud9, and Team Liquid. And now I'm not so sure. TSM looks pretty good. I still think 100 Thieves looks really good, but now it might be a toss-up between Cloud9 and Team Liquid. Who knows? Maybe Immortals or CLG pull off some kind of miracle run. But I think maybe things have shifted a little bit. TMB, quick take here. I know that Curly believes that you have to have a base level of stability year to year, and I agree with that. If you have the possibility of filling in a huge need, communication, by signing a free agent such as Afromu, do you? Well, Curly, I mean, this take was slightly addressed to you.
Yeah.
So why don't
I
you
guess
take it real fast?
I mean, so I will say this. This change would have to happen in the off season. However, if you're only making one specific change, and it is based around communication, support is typically a role that is expected to have communication. So if the communication is not coming from Dreams and it comes to the point where maybe we need to switch them out, I do think Afromu would be a solid, bolster to our squad, especially as you guys have said before. Him and Johnson worked together before and did really well together. So if that not only addresses, maintains some consistency of the team this year, but that adds a new thing back in where the duo lane is one of the lanes where you want people who have played together before because they really know each other at that point. So that would definitely, I think that'd be a good call. I think, but that's something that would have to happen in the off season, and also something to take into account there is Afromu's been playing a long time. When does he hang up the cap?
When does he hang it up? Yeah, I think any kind of discussion about what do we do with the roster? I think it's gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
I think there are people that are better qualified to answer that question than I.
Yeah, I think we'll see. I'm willing to just kind of wait and see what happens with the team, and then once we hit the off season, then we can discuss what changes need to be made. I think week 3 with 18 games left in the season, and potentially playoffs as well if we manage to stay in. I think we should get through that first, and then maybe discuss changes. Knox, how is your girlfriend still in the lead for Pick'em?
I don't know, dude.
Knox 4, how is your girlfriend, who does not watch LCS and I would assume knows much less about League of Legends than you, doing way better than you at picking LCS winners? So, I mean, the real question is, when are we going to have her on as a guest? I mean,
honestly,
no. Oh no.
We need the. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Well,
I mean,
I think we're.
I was gonna pull up her picks really quick because I'm curious to see, but we can also wrap up too.
Yeah, I think
so. Also, fun fact for those listening: instead of SD or HD Nox, we now have Frozen Nox.
Yeah, Frozen Nox is a little.
At the sacrifice of having slightly better camera quality, I freeze more often.
Exactly. Well,
no, but so I'm just gonna put predictions again before we wrap it up here.
Yep. So yeah, we're all calling for the
Oh, you want to know what it was?
Minimum
She
2
had faith in
weeks.
CLG this week.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the
We're all
faith.
very
She got
close together, by the way.
she got 2 out of the 3 CLG games
I'm
this week.
only, you're only a point behind me, Curly, and I'm only a point behind Knox. So anything can happen. Faith is OP, NNK. I firmly agree. That's why we got to have that FlyQuest hopium going on. Well,
And you bet against us for TSM. Come on.
well, look, all good things have to come to an end. Much like this podcast episode, all good things come to an end. Thank you, everyone who was watching tonight. I think we had a lot of folks in the chat. Super appreciative. Love seeing an active chat full of great takes and discussion. It's really helpful for us because then we get a finger on the pulse of the community and we get to know what everyone else is talking about and what they think.
Also, speaking of some things with the chat, actually, so the bar below our names is slightly wrong because it doesn't acknowledge follows that happen when we are not live. We are at 51 followers.
We're 51 followers.
So we will very shortly become affiliates. There's a few other things I think we need to meet criteria-wise, but that's one of the big barriers is getting enough followers, and we'll figure out the rest from there. So thank you guys for that.
What are the other things?
Thank you guys. We appreciate you all.
I will look at that outside of stream, and we will figure that out.
Figure that out. All right. Well, that's exciting. Maybe we can, get some subs and get some emotes and get some cash.
In the meantime, I'm going to start a raid to the FlyQuest Twitch so you guys can look at the fishies.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Let's wrap this up, I guess.
Let's wrap it up. Well, look, bumpy roads lead to beautiful places, right? We'll see how this weekend goes. Look, Curly could be right. This could be a 3-0. Wouldn't that be brilliant? We'd be right back on top. Well, not quite top, but, getting somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Shoutouts?
Yeah, well, quick shout out. Be sure to check out the FlightCheck weekend forecast every Friday at 2 o'clock. We will tweet a link to the video. And that is at FlightCheck Crew. You can follow us there to know when we're going to go live. I will tweet some reactions to games here and there. You can follow me at SantosDB, Knox we're at NoxWarr, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Be sure to join our Discord. It's linked in the Twitch chat there. I've got nothing else to say. I am going to go cook some food because I'm kind of hungry and I need to eat some dinner. You guys, any quick shout-outs before we raid? You've got very little time. Go.
Very few seconds.
You took too much time, Sandy. Have a good one, guys.
Knox. All right. Shout out to 100 Talk as always. Shout out to Drek as always. Shout out to FlyQuest as always. We love you guys. Stay safe out there. Stay beautiful. And most importantly, peace, y'all.
See ya.
Bye. Damn.
That was
we
right
rushed that one.
That was right under the